Okay, good afternoon, everybody, right? All the participants, the students, researchers, right? I'm Dr. T, right? The section is recorded, right? We are going to record it and share to all researchers and students over YouTube, right? I'm Dr. T from FKE. Today, we have the honor to invite Prof. Long, Prof. Long Ming. We normally call Prof. Long Ming. He is a professor from School of Medical and Life Sciences, Sunway University. And I seen his CV, right? It's a very rich CV. I very salute, right? Very salute to him and very rich, right? So I'm not going to read out all the CVs. You may find Prof. Long, right? Over a number of resources online, such as LinkedIn, by Research Gateway and others. I Google it, right? You found his name. But he has been serving a couple of academics, university and colleges before. So far, at the moment, he also served as an adjunct professor at University Brunei Darussalam. And over the past 14 years, he's been very active in academic research and industry experience, right? And so far, very big amount of money, right? To us, right? USD 1.2 million, probably more than that so far now, because my record could be old record. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Prof. Long, you have more than USD 1.2 million funded research and commercialization projects, right? So far, Prof. Long has been very active in act as deputy deans, head of lab, research collaborator, research consultants in a number of bodies, right? Very high rank body. So far, the publication is very high, right? 207, more than that, Scopus ISR index research paper. So I wouldn't read on, right? There are many of them, right? I can't read on. If you are interested and to collaborate with Prof. Long, right? You might want to search his portfolio later on over the Google, or maybe you want to PM me, personal message me to get more his contact, or maybe Prof. Long could leave your contact later on in a chat box, right? And
Sure.
another collaborator from us, right? Prof. Dr. Sam Tong Hai, right? He is an alumni from UTHM, right? Graduated from UTHM 2017 as the first industrial PhD, the very first industrial PhD, 2017, and has been a great help to UTHM, especially to me, right, and FKE, right, to help to establish the network and among the academician and researcher, right? So far, his portfolio increased very quickly. So far, from academician, right, to associate professor, now being granted as a professor, right? Very fast, right? And he worked very closely with China, right? Prof. Sam worked very closely with China, and he worked closely with and received a number of grant collaboration with uh, university in Chiau, right, and others uh, province, right? So far, but he has a lot of publication, right? You may want to look for his portfolio, right, in the Google, right? There are many of them, right? So I would not read more than that, right? I welcome Prof. Long to present his speech, right? Today, his speech will be regarding more on the his experience, right? His long career experience into academician, into research, and into commercialization. Let's try to learn from his experience. Please, Prof. Long, this is your session.
Thank you so much, Associate Professor Dr. T, for the kind introductions. As well, I would like to welcome Prof. Sam. If you have any comments, please feel free to interject and also give your ideas. So I've given
No
2 hours.
problem.
Yeah. So I think I will just talk for almost the 60 minutes then, so that we can have some Q&A sessions. I also understand that the participants are mainly engineering students, 4th year. So trying to make it easy to understand. So my slide will be quite simple lah. And then it will be divided into two parts. The first part going to talk about the pharmaceutical product development, which meaning to say that how we can develop or how we can come up with our own pharmaceutical product, be it either cosmetic or it could be a herbal supplements. Then the second part will be talking about the pharmaceutical product registrations, looking into the regulations aspect and also approval process. Okay. And by training, I'm a pharmacist, a registered pharmacist in Malaysia. And so prior joining Sunway University, I was with University of Brunei Darussalam for 3 years. And then so my research interest mainly about regulatory affair, product registrations, and which is also part and parcel of the pharmaceutical or pharmacist. Okay. So the first part, let's look into the product developments. Prior to that, I'm sure you come across various products in the market. Like this is just a random from supermarkets. It can be as a wide range from pumpkin seed, cactus, okay, or even the honey-based product. So all these are considered as the health supplements. Okay, if you look at so there are three things. First one is you have a health claim, medical claims, as basic as general health maintenance or wellness, and also is in the pharmaceutical product dosage form. Okay, for example, here this is in the capsule or it could be in the tablets. And also it have that means the third part is it requires registrations under the Sales of Drug Act, which I'm going to look into that later on. Okay. On the other hand, also we have cosmetic, which includes here, for example, face cleanser. It could be coconut oil, or it can be a herbal soap. Okay, or it can be any cleansers. So this one, the product range here have been added with, for example, aloe vera or herbal extract, which somewhat give information saying that or it can be nourishing to the skins or to our hair. Okay, so cosmetic as well, as per the Malaysia rules and regulations, require registrations or we call it notifications. Okay, we are going to discuss that this in the second part, but often it will trigger questions like, for example, or how all these have been manufactured. Is it where is it manufactured, or where is the raw material come from? How the manufacturers or the product holder can register the product? So you are going to answer all these informations in our session today. Just very interesting information. If you look at Malaysia scenario, we have quite a number of made in Malaysia cosmetic, and we have several very successful entrepreneur in the cosmetic field. Okay, most of them, like for example, the herbs, there are several brands, Sandayo Tinggi, have been very successful by selling cosmetic alone. This is a huge market, not just in Malaysia but all over the world, because now people are taking good care of their appearance or their skins. Okay. So first, let's by looking at the drug discovery and also product development. Drug discovery means here identify the molecules or compound that have a health effect or medicinal effects. Okay, what you have seen just now, for example, the few product health supplements I presented in the first slide. In fact, there are no proper standardizations, or there is no preclinical or clinical evaluation conducted. But even having said that, it still can be registered and also marketed in Malaysia. Okay, there are several criteria that you need to look at. Okay, which going to cover later on in the second part of our study webinar. Okay. Also, I'm going to touch on a little bit about chemical standardizations. I'm sure the engineering students have some idea when they studies, let's say, for example, your chemical processing. Okay. And Malaysia also blessed with huge biodiversities. We have a lot of forests and also different type of being a tropical country, so it's abundant with different natural products or herbs, which there are several I mean, I think most of the universities now are conducting natural product research, including a UTHM or UTM in the school day. So looking into implementing drug discovery and the development program, if you look at the spectrum, in order for I'm talking about a drug, not health supplements. Okay, later on I explain the difference between health supplements and if you're talking about drug or medicines. For full registrations of medicines, okay, you require the clinical trial to be conducted to ensure that the drug is truly safe and efficacious, proven through the clinical trial investigations. So the whole process can consume up to 15 years. The exception will be our COVID-19 vaccines. It have been in the record breaking, have been then go through the product development and the approval in 1 year plus time. I'm sure you know the reason due to the this is a huge outbreak of COVID-19, which I'm sure everyone have been vaccinated now. Okay, so there is a great need to look into the safety and quality of the product before it can be marketed. Okay, what will be the consequences if the product is not safe and it's in the market? Obviously, it can cause harm to the body, especially if it's taking over long term. Harm in the sense that it can harm our kidneys or harm our can cause, for example, other diseases, induce other diseases, for example, allergy reactions, or it can cause, for example, first a liver problem, because once you consume the medications, which just like your food, it will be digested and need to be metabolized, processed in our body. And if the medicine is toxic, then directly it can damage our liver, and subsequently also it can cause damage to our kidney. Okay, so it's don't see that all health supplements are safe. It's a myth. Okay, whenever before taking it, make sure you read carefully. Also know more about products, because quite a number of products in the markets, it could be unregistered, even though the enforcement officers are working around the clock. But then still, if you understand, uh, there will be still loophole whereby all these manufacturers, they can still able to market or import unregistered product into into the Malaysian markets. So you need to exercise precautions to make sure that you safeguard your own health. Okay. So I would like to take 3 minutes to go through this pharmaceutical development timeline and process. Just now I did mention about clinical trial, isn't it? At what point we need to do clinical trial. So let's first look at the biomedical research first. Biomedical research means research using different test material, tests and also different at the conducted in the laboratory, okay, to isolate and then to abstract the active ingredient for the plants, and then we will test on, I could be on the cell line, or it can be testing preclinically on the animal models, for example, rats or mice, to see the two things, whether it's safe, whether it can cause any damaging effect to the organ system, or whether it is effective, whether it gives the positive response that we want. Like for example, if we looking at the herbal medicines that can help to reduce the diabetes problem, then we will measure what is the effect on the fasting blood glucose. Okay. So often these are being initiated by the research funding agency. It could be from the Ministry of Education in Malaysia, but mainly they are manufacturing generic products. Generic products means the product that have been off patents. Okay, so we are not really looking into developing a new drug. Why? This is mainly for a new drug, or sometimes we call it new chemical entity, to be approved. You need to go through the rigorous, as I mentioned, the whole thing can take consume up to 15 years, 10 to 15 years. So there are a rigorous process. You have to go through the clinical phase, first phase of clinical trial, second phase, third phase. So which is increasing number of volunteers, which is in this one is will be human populations. Okay, this one preclinical is tested either on the cell itself or on the animal models. Okay. So often, if in the phase one, which that determines whether it's safe or not, normally they test it on the one or two human healthy volunteers, and subsequently on the larger number can be up to 3,000 and above. Okay. Apart from time consuming, it's also cost intensive. Okay, so it's involved a lot of investments. So far, with the resources in Malaysia, there are a few currently ongoing on the phase 2 clinical trial, herbal medicines, being sponsored by mostly. Hopefully, maybe in next few years we can come up with our own NCE, a new chemical entity product, which is patented. Okay. So just a summary from what I mentioned, it can be from herbal plants if they're going to go through the biomedical research to uh, extract and then to come up with isolate, and then they will go for testing on the animals and then humans. And I'm going to repeat this process again, another flow chart looking at the various activities in throughout the drug development process. Okay. On this yellow box, this one is looking at the manufacturer aspect before, during the clinical trial. If it show promising, then the manufacturer need to gear up the productions lah. They need to have import in, or they start to have all this raw material, and then the manufacturing facility need to be audited, and then they need to have their distribution line also, for example, wholesaler to the retailer before they reach to the clinic or pharmacy, or even the supermarket on the shelf. Okay. So this is some other herbal product, as I mentioned. Okay, This is, for example, if from the mango steams, or this is from the neem, okay, or this is from the thing from from olive oil, okay, or from the propolis, various. The ones shown here is that in fact are not the registered product, okay. So these are the under the category of health supplements, and then without standardization, okay. Some are standardized if if it's a label or on the product packaging saying that it have been is standardized raw material or standardized herbs, meaning to say that they have done the QC test with the concentration or the ingredient have been validated, okay. So this slide is slightly more busy than before. As I explained, we are looking at the drugs discovery framework up from it have two tracks as shown here. One is the herbal track, one is the drug track. And then we will discuss about it going through the clinical trial before it can be very screened for during the drug registration process before it's being approved, okay. Let's look at the first one, the herbal track. Herbal track here means product from the natural product, or previously we call it traditional medicines. Okay. So as I mentioned, it could be from any herbal plants. Some of the most famous one, it could be Tongkat Ali, Kacang Fatima, or Mas Kotak. Okay. Data mining here means from there's several, it can be online or public domain, several data sets have been available, and then we are looking at the safety, or sorry, we're looking at the physical chemical properties of the herbal abstract, okay. So we could then collect the sample. It could be from the peel, it could be from the leaf, it could be from the bark itself. Okay, different part of the organs. It might have different molecules. Okay, and then we have to go through the extraction process. Extraction process means to isolate, or means to extract or to get those active constituents from the herbal plants itself. Okay, so this one will go through extraction process. There are several methods to extract those active active ingredients. Okay, or molecules. Okay. After that, after we have done the extractions, we have the extract, or it could be a pure isolated extract, or it can be the crude extract. Okay, then we will conduct. This is just now the biomedical research that I explained. So to test the biological activities and also toxicities, because come back again, we want the drug to be active or to be effective, and at the same time it should be safe. That means it doesn't cause damage to our organ system, right? Let's say, for example, if you are given the medicine, let's say for COVID-19, it can straight away kill the viruses in the body, the COVID-19 viruses, but it can cause direct damage to the kidney. Even though it's effective drug, but it's not then safe drug. Therefore it shouldn't be marketed, because there's no point the virus die, but also the user or the consumer also die because of the kidney failure. Okay. So the next step is, after testing, then it will isolate again. So this is called the bioassay guided, okay, extractions. Okay, then we will test it again to see which part of the, or which molecule is most likely most effective, and then we go through the testing again. And if it's found really what is from both is effective and then safe, then we will do the standardizations. Okay. as to validate the content. Okay. So this is the process. Just now is the bioassay guided isolations, and then once is we identify the certain abstract or isolate is give us the best result in terms of safety and efficacy, then we will then do the further in the purification in larger quantities, and if necessary also we will then we will determine the structure of the compound, either through crystallizations or through in silico computer models. Okay, this is what we found out. So here from the herbal track, it can lead us to the drug track. Okay, this is for example from the natural product. So sometimes you can from the synthesis drug, which can go directly, okay, without going through all this herbal track process. Okay, so now we have the bioactive molecule, or sometimes we call it heats. Okay, and then we will go through another process called lead optimizations, because it might have the on molecule structures, but we want to make sure that, let's say for example, by adding several molecule or structures, it can help to enhance the absorptions, or it can help to reduce the toxicities, or it can help to reduce the drug interactions. So all these thing is optimized now. On all this now is running through a high throughput screenings, or under the field of keen informatics, so it can be expedited with the help of AI and also computer, supercomputer. And again, then we will test it on humans to look at the absorption, distribution, metabolism. So this is the so-called pharmacology of the medicines, okay, or pharmacology field. Okay. Okay, now we have the standardized herbal drug, or we have the drug itself, the active molecule or single molecule. Because for the herbal drug, it have multiple origin or multiple molecules inside, which is I am going to explain further. Okay, but this is a single molecule, and then we go through the process. If you still recall, just now we were talking about the development process. You have the biomolecule research, and then you do the preclinical on animal testing, and then we go through the clinical trial, phase 1, phase 2, phase 1 to 3. Okay. So what will be the potential output from all these drug discovery? 3 outputs here. First one, it could be if standardized herbal supplements. Sometimes it's not standardized. It depends on the manufacturers. Okay. So it become a herbal supplements, which is I've shown you several examples just now. It can be from either from Kachi Fatima, from the neems, or it could be from the mango steam. Okay, from different part of, it can be extract from the leaf as well, or it could be from the, for example, from the fruit or the pulp. Okay, and if this the drug component have gone through the clinical trial process, okay, then it can be marketed as the herbal drug. Okay, herbal drugs here means they have a stronger medical claim, for example, have been traditionally used, or it can be used for the treatment of certain diseases. It could be, for example, skin diseases, or it could be, for example, some certain bacterial infections. Okay. Synthetic drugs, if it's synthetic natures, not herbal origins. Okay. So three potential output from all this long-winded process. Okay, so if you can see this again, this process alone, it can be easily take 5 years and above. So, and that's why the whole drug discovery process is not economical in that sense. It involves several millions of investment before it can go through the go to the market, that for consumptions. Okay. So again here, I'm going to integrate the approval process and also how the drug is developed into a component of R&D. Because if you see, I'm sure the UTHM, there are several researchers also looking at herbal research or drug discovery. So these are the activities embedded or integrated within the whole drug discovery process. Okay. Local wisdom, traditional knowledge, it could be, for example, Malay medicines, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, or Unani. Okay. Looking from, for example, traditionally or from the scriptures or tradition, it can be from the pharmacopoeia, okay, that have documented what all these drug when it's being combined, or what will be the potential effect. Okay. So also this is study under the field of ethnopharmacology or ethnobotany. Okay. So these are the potential plants. It could be, as I mentioned just now, it could be even pomelo. It could be, for example, mangosteen. Okay. And then so looking at which part of the plants, as I mentioned, it could be from the kernel itself, the pulp, the fruit, or it could be from the leaf. Okay. Then we have to, because all these we cannot, if it's like jamu or ubak kampong, then we will consume the raw material. But if we go through this drug discovery process, then we will do the extractions. It could be water extractions, or it could be organic solvents extractions. Okay. After the extraction is done, so we have the extract, isn't it? What is the extract? Is actually a solution or liquid that have been essence or from all these large quantity of raw material. Okay, then we will go through the chemical analysis to see that what will be the potential biological activities. As I mentioned, it could be anti-cancer activities, it could be antibacterial activities, diabetic activities. Okay. As I mentioned, if we not just looking at the active activities or active pharmacological or health benefit, but we must make sure it's also safe or it have less or tolerable side effect. So that's why we need to go through the toxicology test, so that it doesn't cause harm to any of the organ system, be it brain, heart, liver, or even the kidney. Okay. And then going through the drug product developments, meaning to say that you want to do the extract, and then you need to do the pre-formulations. You need to come up with a dosage form. It could be as a cream, a spray, or even a capsule, a tablet, or patch. Or it could be from some herbal drinks, okay, herbal product. So we are going to talk about Food Act also later on. And then if you want to have the medicinal claim for your product registration, then you need to do the clinical studies, and also product safety. Product safety, it could be the most simple one, heavy metal test, bacteria load to make sure it's free from any bacteria. Okay. And then if you've gone through the clinical trials, clinical study, phase 1 or phase 3, then it can be considered, it can be then submitted for the dossier we prepare. Dossier is the reports on all the clinical trial reports, and then it can be a new chemical entity or MCE, or it could be, for example, a herbal drug. Okay. And then you will go through the phase 4 clinical trial again, being used on the even wider patient group. to see what is the effect, okay, which go hand in hand. Then it will be marketed some to the general to the doctors, so that or pharmacists, so that they will promote all these product to the potential user. Okay, so again, if you look at the previous slides, some are integrated, but this one looking at the various activities or integrated research, the whole pictures of R&D or herbal products or herbal drugs, or sometimes we call it natural products. Okay. So this is my one of the current ongoing project of mine, looking at the pomelo, okay, which the scientific name is this citrus grandis, okay. So the one, as you can see, we will eat the pulp. Also, sometimes it has a cooling effect, traditionally believed, or it can help to for any indigestion problem. Okay, the tea leaf, which is the current ongoing investigations by my research group, we want to look at how it can help to reduce the flatulence or indigestion problem. Okay. So why it is so important to study, especially now we are looking at the optimizing our resources, or looking at the sustainable development goal or SDG. So looking at the triage, so the research and R&D will help us to generate new knowledge, okay, and then from the biodiversities, from the various herbs and plants that can be found in Malaysia, which then from all these new product developed, it can be used, exported, or from we can do a technology transfer to overseas company. In this way, it can help to conserve the environments and then optimize the resources. Okay. So almost 40 minutes now. And then the second part, Dr. T, do we need to have a break in between?
Yeah, you can carry on, no problem.
Carry on, all
You can
right.
carry on, yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I try to cut short, because I understand also as an audience sometimes it's quite taxing to to listen
problem.
talk for continuously for 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm fascinated about your talk, right? Yes, this is
Thank you.
public domain.
Yeah.
I posed
So
a few questions, right, on the chat box. Probably later on I'll ask question as well for me,
sure.
lah. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
hopefully this question will not sound silly, yeah.
No
Because
worry. Yeah.
no worry, right? Okay, just
There's
let's go on.
always new information, new aspect. I wouldn't know all everything about the drug development also. Okay, so now you have effective, tested among more than 3,000 or above populations. Okay, and then or if you go through the herbal track, that for the health supplements, that you don't want really spend large quantity of a few millions to conduct the clinical trial, then you just want to market it as a health supplements. So you also need to go through the product registration process. So I'll take the 30 to 40 minutes to go through very briefly. Okay.
Before
Mm-hmm.
Prof continue, right? We normally take about 1.5 hour lah, to complete the talk, right? So the talk should be finished before 4 p.m.
Yeah, no worry. I'll try to look in at the time also. Okay. So let's look at the law itself. We know that when we drive, we need to buckle up. We cannot do speeding. That one is traffic law. Or we know that we shouldn't harm someone else. It could be a criminal law, but we also have a law related to pharmacy, or in particular sense, a pharmaceutical product. So the one we're going to look at is this Sales of Drug Act and the Control of Drug and Cosmetic Regulations. Okay. the regulation is supporting regulations or supporting law for the main act. So this main act is the one who is going to explain how and why and what is the procedures in terms of a drug. I'm going to explain what is a drug later on. Okay, under this law, it is being controlled in Malaysia. Okay, so there's a component of drug and cosmetic. If you remember just now, I showed you two slides. One is about the product and also cosmetics. Okay. So a little bit of reverse engineering. Let's look at the end, if the negative end. If let's say, for example, if a product is not registered and being sold in the market, what will be the consequences? Consequences, it could be confiscated, and then the seller, not just the seller, the manufacturer itself, it can be charged in court. How much will be the penalty if it's convicted? I explain later. So this is the jobs or the responsibility of the pharmaceutical enforcement officers. Okay, from time to time, look investigating if it can be from the store of a pharmacy or clinic. Are they carrying or selling unregistered product? Okay, why the drug need to be registered? Because the registered drug have been screened, have been approved by the drug control authority that being safe to be used. So there is a big question mark if it's a unregistered mark in terms of the safety and the efficacy. So these are the various rates or operations have been done where large quantity of unregistered product being confiscated, not just being confiscated, the seller then will be charged in court. So the activities also conducted in conjunction, supported by the custom officers and also a police force. Okay. Let's look at one example. This is quite an old case in 2015. Let me give you 2 minutes to go through the content. This is a newspaper report published by the MST, New Straits Times. Okay. Closely examine what will be the penalties mentioned here. Okay, if you clearly identify this Drug Sales Act, which actually means to Sales of Drug Act, okay. 1952 means it was being approved by the then 1952. This is even before the Merdeka. Okay. So if it's convicted, persons can, this is they're charging on persons, civil servants that have been found selling unregistered. First, there are two crime here, committed crime. First one is product is not registered, and the product is a poison. I explain later what is a poison, and also the person is unauthorized to conduct such sales. If you're looking, for example, medicines, it can be only dispensed and sold by in hospital, clinic, by doctors or pharmacy, by a pharmacist. But this one is unauthorized person. Okay. So normally when this is in fact, there is a new amendment, the Poison Act. So the latest one being approved last year is the penalty can be 1 million. This is an old report, 2015. Okay, so under the Sales Drug Act is 25,000, or it can be both fine and then jail not more than 3 years. Okay. So as I mentioned, two crime here: unregistered product and then the unauthorized sales from not from healthcare professionals. Okay. So it come back to the law itself under the regulation 7 of CDCR, which is the abbreviations of Control of Drug and Cosmetic Regulation, CDCR. Okay, clearly stipulated under the sub-regulations A, only a registered product could be sold in the market in Malaysia. Okay, appropriate license are going to explain what kind of license required as well. Okay, so just this sentence, it will give you the power to the enforcement officers and also to the legal system to put charges for the any persons within Malaysia, either citizen or non-citizen, that must abide to the law that only a registered product could be sold or used. Okay, so the product here later I explain also under the term definitions of the under the term what is a drug. Okay, let's look at another example here, which is most common one, especially after COVID-19 vaccines. Sometimes we also develop fever. We need to take the Panadol, which is seen from the TV advertisement. What is the active ingredients? There's only one single active ingredient in the Panadol, which is the paracetamol, and that normal strength is the 500 milligram. Sometimes you have the 650. Okay, like for example here. So this is considered as a pharmaceutical product. And then let me just quickly introduce the term poison and non-poison. So this have been exempted. This is a non-poison. But if you look at or if there is these paracetamol injections in the vial form, okay, this one, the classification is as a control medicines, or the technical law term is, we call it a poison. So this one you can buy freely without any restrictions in terms of requirement of prescriptions, even from any store, grocery store, bookstore, they can sell, no problem. Okay, but not this one, even though the ingredients are same as containing paracetamol. Okay, don't worry if you don't understand, because it's as long as this one, I just want to highlight the example of pharmaceutical product and its classifications. So if you go to supermarket also, pharmacy, or even go any bookstore, sometimes, or medical hall, so they sell all sort of medication, isn't it? Without you having to go to the pharmacist to ask for it, or without have to go to the clinic to get prescriptions. Prescription is the notes or order given by the doctors for the medications. Okay. So this is considered as the non-prescriptions product or non-poisons. But all these medicines also is require registrations to be marketed. Okay, if you I'll show you what is how you validate the registration later on. Okay. Because all these containing health claim, it can be like, for example, help you to stop the diarrhea, help you to reduce the flatulence, help you to reduce your cough. Okay. So on the other hand, also we have the prescription product, or if you see of your medicines you taken from clinics or hospitals, some written there control medicines. Okay, this one then it require prescriptions, or for example can be dispensed by a pharmacist at the pharmacy counter. Okay, so this is the NAL number. I'll help you to decipher what is ARZ later on. What is A, what is R, what is Z. Okay, so commonly for control medicines by law itself, it have to come up with these two cautionary label lah. Keep medicine out of reach of children, okay, or in bahasa jauhi ubat daripada kanak-kanak. Okay. So sometimes also you see newspaper, it come up with this term of poison. okay, or in Bahasa you call it racun, okay. Racun is not like the racun that we understand that can cause like for example cyanide or whatever toxin that the people take to harm themselves, okay. But this one is a legal term under the Poison Act, okay. That's why under the Poison Act they have one poison list which state that which one is poison. The layman term for poison here is the control medicines which require prescriptions or require dispensing by a pharmacist before it can be used. Okay, so let's closely examine this title. Health Ministry bans 7 cosmetic product containing poison. Okay, so the originating of the issue is, for example, there is some active ingredients or we call it a drug have can have been approved for use to reduce, for example, pigmentations or to reduce pimples, acne, like for example, some antibiotic, for example, doxycycline, clarithromycins, can be added into a cream to reduce the inflammations or to kill the bacteria or to heal the acne or pimples. But this one is required, as I mentioned, dispensing by a pharmacist or prescription by doctors. So it shouldn't contain all these ingredients categorized under the Poison Act. Okay. So sometimes also it contains whitening ingredient, which is being categorized or classified as poisons. Okay. So if you look at the drug approval process, often you come across a newspaper or it have been approved by US FDA or by the UK MHRA or by the European country, European Medicines Agency. So these are the drug regulators or executive body that screen and then approve the product registrations in their respective country. Okay, what about Malaysia? Okay, so Malaysia, the equivalent executive body that approve the drug registration is DCA, Drug Control Authority, okay, which established by this law as well. CDCR, if you remember just now, the CDCR, Control of Drug and Cosmetic Regulations. Okay. So not just approval, that the administrative or supporting the DCA, there is a strong team under the MPRA. So which bring me to this one, National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency. So they are the ones who process if you want to apply for product registrations. Okay, they are the officer and pharmacists working under the Ministry of Health. They will vet through, they will have the screen to check whether it fulfill the guideline or not, or fulfill the standard before they send the dossier and report to DCA for their considerations. Okay. So if these are the another reiteration just now, or if you recall back just now, the public servants that was caught red-handed selling the sex stimulants. So this is reported or charged under the individual. If let's say if the premise is a company, let's say a grocery store or a coffee shop, then they can charge it under a company, which the penalty tend to be even higher. Okay. So this is the general penalty commonly used if someone is being charged in court for selling or possessing okay, unregistered product. So under Ministry of Health, and there are purview of Ministry of Health, there's this food divisions which they are being the executing or enforcing the Food Act. So this is just to highlight quite some times ago this very popular product called Juice Al Sunnah that have been found containing poisons. Poison here means the steroid, dexamethasone and prednisolone. So this is the natural occurring. Our body will form steroid also to help us to fight to reduce inflammations. Taking exogenously or taking if we consume or inject, okay, is a very potent drug that can reduce pain, inflammation, swelling. Okay, it's effective analgesic, but also have very low safety profile in the sense that if it's overused, it can cause harm to the kidney. Okay, so it should be only administered after with prescriptions under monitoring of the doctors. So what this company is, they added all these uh, control medicines inside. And obviously, if you take a juice containing steroid, if you have knee pain, back pain, or you feel there is a relief, and then you feel that this juice is so effective, then you recommend it to your friend, you keep on consuming, without knowing that it can cause harm to your liver and also kidney. So it was busted, and then it was caught. The company then was compounded, and then they issue a ban, uh, press release lah to inform to create awareness among public to stop taking the one they already bought. So this is the so-called example. Okay. Why under Food Act? Because the main food ingredient here is 100% juice, just that it have been spiked or have been adulterated with control medicines lah, which suppose only being found in the prescribed medications. Okay. So this is another case also. They found that this one's even more high end. They added all these narcotic substances. It could be, for example, a ketum, or it could be, for example, morphine to in drinks. Okay, in some sophisticated entertainment outlet. In disguise lah. So all these are, for example, being discovered and then banned. Okay. Okay, let me just give you a heads up. Or by law itself, don't think that I don't manufacture all these things. I just sell it. And even though you are working as a staff, for example, a sales executive, sales assistant in the shop, you are being held the same liability as by the manufacturer or by the company. Okay, so be very careful if you are working in the or even when you're working part-time in the stores that you suspect selling all these unregistered product. Okay, if it's being charged, you can have the same liability, or you can be charged in court. Also, even though you are working just as a staff, you are not the owner of the company. Okay. And you cannot, I mean, the owner or the seller cannot say that, oh, this product I put there is not for sales. You cannot claim that on, it is just for decorative purpose, not meant for animal or human consumptions. The law already stated one is there, out there, is already means for sales. Okay. Okay, very quickly now, let's closely examine the registrations part, which is being stipulated under the CDCR. Okay. always very important to define or to know under which classification or category. Okay, so the law already defined itself. What is a drug? The definition is so broad that it cover almost everything. Okay, so the drug, what is a drug? Because you remember Sales of Drug Act, control on drug and cosmetic. Okay, it could be any product or articles. Article here means any compounds or any medicines in the form of medicines that can be used, either apply or consumed for a medicinal purpose. Here, the law clearly define or spell out explicitly what is the medicinal purpose. Okay, if you look at A and G, it cover almost everything under the healthcare already. From the lowest general maintenance and promotion of health or well-being, including your health supplements, vitamins. Okay, and then so on the another category is cosmetic. Okay, bear in mind cosmetic need to be notified or registered under the CDCR. Also, I mean, you need to, the manufacturer need to register it before being marketed. Okay. So this is, for example, health supplement. If you can see here, general health maintenance, general well-being. So all this require, as long as it have carry all this for medicinal purpose, it should be or it must be registered. And if it's not registered, then it can be compounded, can be sued by the Ministry of Health. Okay. Okay, there's just now it says for animals consumptions or human or animal consumptions, and you cannot say that this one is for example, for sembahyang or spiritual. No. Okay, and then once it was found, just like just now, the in there's a report, public servants was being caught, isn't it, selling all these sex stimulants. Found in his house, possessed for sales. They cannot claim that, oh, this is for my own use. It's already, either it could be in the store, or it can be in the wholesaler warehouse, or it can be in the short lot itself. Okay, possessed for sales. It can be charged also. Okay, just now we're talking about medicinal purpose under the drug. Now let's look at what is the definition of cosmetic. And if you can see, it also cover difference right from our hair to let's say, for example, different genital organs. This including the hygienic wash and also lipsticks, nail polish, with all this purpose. So the definitions itself cover include your shampoo, okay, your, for example, mouthwash, okay, all governed control under the CDCR, okay, which means you need to go through the registration process. But for cosmetic, is less stringent. That's why it's called notifications. So this is example of notification notes. Just a 2 pages thing, document stated that the product have been notified to the Ministry of Health, and it can be safe for sales in the market as a cosmetic. Okay. Take notes the notification number, like MOT with a serial number, and then K is for cosmetic, in Bahasa cosmetic, isn't it? Okay, so the last 10 minutes here, I'm just going to very quickly brief you about what is how to identify if the product have been registered with the drug control authorities, okay, being approved by the drug control authority for sales. Bear in mind the registration is not it's come with a certain duration. Let's say, for example, if it's provisional registration, it can be 2 or 3 years, full registration 5 years, and then the manufacturer need to, or the product holder need to renew the registrations. Just like your license, your license once before expiry, you need to renew. Okay. Okay, so these are the application charges, fees. Is for natural product or traditional medicine is 500. Cosmetic is 50 for each product variant. Let's say, for example, you have a cosmetic with 10 different colors, 10 different variants. So each one it will be 50 ringgit. And if it's prescribed medications, non-prescribed medication, veterinary product, or biologic product, the application charges is 1,000. Okay. And then all these relevant documents, samples required for lab testing conducted by the MPRA or authorized lab. Okay. So you should able to access this from using your phone or your, as long as you have access to internet. Just go to mbra.noh.gov.my under Quest 3. Quest 3 Plus is the portal, name of the portal, which you can then search product that have the active registrations. Active registration means that let's say, for example, the product registration expired last year, so it will be then removed from the list. So you can, even though have been registered before, but not active already, so it will not be automatically considered as not a register. It must have active registrations. So you can find here, if it's cosmetic, then you can put the product name, for example, ABC, and then it will tell you whether such product is registered. If you cannot find it in the list, automatically means it's not the registered product. Therefore, it shouldn't be sold in Malaysia market. Okay, remember just now there is a control medicine box, then there is this MAL number, then come up with the suffix. So if you look at the suffix itself, for example, T here, T for traditional medicines, or now the classification called natural product. A means scheduled poison. Sometimes the bahasa called racun berjadual. Sounds a bit odd, meaning to say that the name appear in the first schedule of the poison list, which is the list that we refer to, drug list refer to on which molecule is classified as a poison. Okay. Poison here means the prescribed medications that need the prescription or need to dispense by a pharmacist. Okay. Now, there's some other auxiliary one. For example, contract manufacturer means that it is being manufactured by a independent manufacturer. Sometimes we call it OEM. If you drive along the highway, sometimes there's a lot of advertisement by all these manufacturers say, oh, they can help you to manufacture cosmetic, help you manufacture different health supplements. Yeah, that one is a legit one. That means they have the facilities under the good manufacturing GMP, good manufacturing practice to under authorized license by the MPRA to perform and to manufacture. Okay. Okay. Many years ago, GST exempted. Okay. So this is the example for you see if it's X means it's a non-prescribed medication, or sometimes we call it over-the-counter medications lah. Example is Panadol or aspirin, some your Gaviscon. Okay. Control medicines, or we call it ubat tekawa. Okay, here if with this A. Okay, whereas for traditional medicines, it could be Ayurveda, it can be Tongkat Ali. Okay, so then with and end with a T. Okay. For cosmetic, instead of MAL, it's called notifications, MOT, and then serial number end with a K. Okay, alphabet K. To enhance the security to prevent this adulterated or fake medicines or counterfeit medicines, they have additional safety precautions by including a hologram, medical hologram, to make sure that those are not the counterfeit medicines. So let's look at some example from cosmetic, different brands. It's not compulsory for cosmetic to add this notification number, but it's compulsory for product, pharmaceutical product. Okay. So let's say, for example, you have this barley tablet as a traditional medicines, or capsule tongkat ali. Okay. So these are the prescribed medications. Okay, atenolol, ranitidine, which are prescribed scheduled poison. Okay, as a prescribed medications. I also have a health supplements, for example, C, or sometimes health supplement there is a category the end with alphabet M, Negeri Sembilan. Okay. And then this is non-poisoned repackaging for export. Okay. Okay, I think this is my last slide. Okay. So once you have the product registrations done, remember just now need to be registered under regulation 7 of CDCR, and then have relevant licenses, isn't it? What kind of license we are looking at in order for a manufacturer to sell, or wholesaler to wholesale to a retailer, or if it's imported product, how the product can be imported into Malaysia shore for sales. Okay, you can ignore the number 4. This is not too important in our case. Okay, that the company itself need to have this import license, manufacturer license, wholesaler license, depends which type of activities. If it's a prescribed medication, is a poisons, on top of all this license, they need a license A, pharmacist license A. So you need to hire a full-time pharmacist to handle the import applications. Okay. So these licenses fees are shown here. Okay, so as I mentioned very briefly, just an overview to the undergraduate students. Hopefully, it also interesting for those lecturers. This is not the end. I mean, I'm happy to give a further clinic. I'll go tackling into the requirement for registration for each category, be it the poisons, cosmetic, non-poisons, biologics, health supplements. Okay. So I will with this note, I would like to end my presentations. Back to Dr. T and Prof. Sam. Do you have any comment or questions?
Hey, thank you very much, Prof. And then really very mind-opening information and sharing. And then I used to, when I was in business many years ago, all right, I produce coconut oil. I produced coconut oil before, okay, coconut oil before, and then I partnered with one of my friend. Okay, we have a factory in Muar, all right, and then we were selling these products well in Malaysia at the very beginning, because they are using a very traditional way to do it, and then good quality, all right. And that at that moment of time, because I have good connection in China, and our product I have already sent the product to China, and then my partner has already gone to China for exhibition. However, and then that particular product can be consumed by human beings. All right. So, do I need to register for the first question is, do I need to register for that product? Because this is also considered a health supplement. A health supplement. This is the first question. And then the second question is, if I do not register for this, and then what will be happening? And then if anything happened to my consumer, they are filing a lawsuit if anything happened to them.
Thanks. Yeah, very interesting point. I believe also, yeah, that's why it's good to have you on board here to share your ideas in your business world, enterprising. So coming back to the coconut oil, if you're looking at the coconut oil itself, it will be classified under the Food Act, because this is 100% fruit ingredient, as you mentioned, is for consumption use, and because it doesn't contain any poisons, or in this case ingredient which is considered as a therapeutic agent. For example, herbs, because coconut is not classified as herbs as per the MPRA. In fact there's a list. So that is 100% food ingredient also. Let's say if it's, for example, if it's 50% and above, it contains it contains, let's say, other poison ingredients, poison in the sense that medicine ingredients, then it will fall under the category of medicines or drug. But as I mentioned, this is coconut is not considered as medicinal ingredient under the MPRA list, and also it is a fruit product. Therefore, it is should be registered under the Food Act. So for registration of Food Act, then it have a process also, but it's less stringent to see that whether it is having heavy metals, if it contains any steroids. Then after all these tests then conducted, then it can be registered under the Food Act.
Understood.
So if it's not, if it doesn't register under Food Act, then it will be, if there's a complaint, then it can be then charged under the Food Act. So normally we encourage those food manufacturers, they know very well food manufacturer, normally they will register it, the product as a fruit product. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you very much for clarification.
Yeah. There is another, sometimes you come across this coconut oil for skin applications. So it come back to the label, the product use itself. If it's let's say it say to be applied on the skin, then it automatically fall under the cosmetic. Then then it need to be clarified or need to be notified under the cosmetic CDCR. Yeah.
Understood. So if we develop any products from herbs, for example, we have I don't know whether you know Dr. Gita, right?
Yeah.
Our Prof Dr. Gita, and our Pro Vice Chancellor. I believe that both AP Dr. T and Prof Long, you met Prof Dr. Gita during the what do you call that? The symposium. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So she is my akka, Indian call akka, kakak. So I also work together with her now with a research on the curry leaves.
Yeah.
The leaves that we use to cook curry. As a matter of fact, this curry leaves is a very what do you call that? It is a natural herbs which can combat the acne, you know, combat the acne, and then can be developed to be a very effective cosmetic. Yes, cosmetic products. So if we develop it into a cosmetic products, so it has to be registered, right? To apply to the skin. To apply to the skin.
Correct. Then the under the MPRA cosmetic list also, the curry leaf extract also have been listed lah. If it's not listed, then you have to apply the extract to be listed, because during the notification process you need to include which are the active ingredient used. Are you still seeing my screen? No, right?
No, you have I only see your face, your handsome face.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I thought that which one are you still seeing? So now,
All right.
if it's in that case, it can be used, and then on the assumptions that the ingredient have been approved as part of the active ingredient as a cosmetic, and need to be manufactured in the authorized manufacturer by the MPRA. So they have this different level of GMP. One type of GMP is cosmetic GMP. Then only it can be registered. If you produce in your lab itself, it cannot be registered. And
Interesting. Okay. So I think our AP Dr. T has a few questions. We need some answer and explanation from Prof. Long. All right. So Dr. T, do you mind to raise the questions that you have already posted?
I've actually take the lecture notes, right, along the speech of Prof. Long. I took some lecture notes and then I actually draft some questions. I wouldn't ask every line, but something draw my attention on this. You mentioned about COVID-19 and the fast track of COVID-19 jabs being approved, right? A very fast track, right? And normal conventional timeline is 10 to 15 years, right? Okay. Could you elaborate a bit on this COVID-19 jab? Why is it possible to shorten it into a year? And then what is the impact behind it if it is being shortened into a year? So there are many versions, right? We have China version, we have Europe version, we have US version, and then Taiwan also have another version. So what is the impact if being shortened up, and what is the risk for that?
Yeah, very good question, Dr. T. Because I'm sure everyone during the peak of COVID-19, and then everyone is waiting eagerly, due to the before vaccination there is a high mortality rate, especially the Delta variants. So this thing also being highlighted lah, with WHO declare that it is a emergency, healthcare emergency. Hence, the MPRA adopted the WHO policy to have this special fast track for emergency approval lah. It's called a rolling submissions. Rolling submission means that now from the clinical trial, so let's say for the requirement for registration, let's say it need 10 documents, so the 5 most essential one have been submitted, then they will give a provisional registration, not a full registration. Provisional means it can, instead of normally full registration 5 year, they give 1 year, and then so that it can be used in, start vaccination process. And then with the time new data from the clinical trial being provided, then they will give further information to the MPRA so that they can build up the dossier. Dossier is the compilation of documents. There is a very long list. It can be from the manufacturing, raw material, stability, data safety, safety of the patients, efficacy result. So with that, under the emergency expedited classifications, then they approve the rolling submissions, and then subsequently they have given the issue a few provisional registrations, and therefore, I mean, it's still safe for use, and especially we follow the WHO one. The WHO, they have approved for use, then only we will also adopt some of the system. But we have done our I mean, the MPRA officer have done their due diligence also by screening through, submitting. Let's say, for example, Pfizer vaccine, the Comirnaty, if being approved in US, it doesn't mean automatically it's improved in other world, other part of the other country. It still need to apply case by, I mean, one by, and in all respective country, like let's say, for example, Malaysia need to be approved by the MPRA. Singapore need to approve by their Singapore Poison Board. Then only it can be used in Singapore or in Malaysia. So in a way, it's still safe. The only thing is unprecedented due to the critical situations, and then in terms of safety and efficacy, is actually very, very well monitored.
Yeah, thank you for the answer. Right, we are delighted to hear that it's actually the approval of this COVID-19 jab is actually under very stringent condition, right? And we are actually safely guarded so far.
Yeah, correct.
Yes. There's something interesting about the timeline, 10 to 15 years of conventional timeline, right? And there are many phases. So I just want something trigger across my mind, right? Since there are many phases and many stages of, let's say Prof Long come out with some idea and research in the university, right? And then you apply for patent, and then you go through this process timeline, right? So is it possible in between this timeline that some of these stages is actually potentially sold to a company and being continued somewhere else? Is it something like investing activities? Is it possible to be conducted in that way? Because the timeline is so span into 10, 15 years, right? That is so long. Saya sudah tua pencen already.
Yeah, actually, very good point, Dr. T. In fact, this is what's being done in some research institution, either in the universities or smaller entity. Let's say, for example, they identified some molecule or patented technology, just like the Pfizer's one. So the Pfizer's one was first, what is what is the company that hang on having this is a problem after the long COVID have this, yeah, BioNTech BioNTech. So BioNTech originally is an independent, if I'm not mistaken, is it German company? Okay, so the BioNTech, their small research team. So they found out with they come up with this mRNA, not come out lah. They somehow modify and then fine tuned all this mRNA technology which being used to produce the COVID-19 vaccines. So their partnership with the Pfizer, so that the Pfizer can fund their clinical trial. But part of the clinical trial also, in fact, for the Comirnaty, the COVID-19 vaccine of Pfizer, was being funded by the US. So that is one of some of the approach or strategies. Let's say, for example, Dr. T, your research team come up with some identify some new novel molecule that have not been patented before. Instead, your whole your university fund the project, so you can sell the patent to all these multinational companies, so that they can proceed with the next stage of drug discovery process, be it a preclinical or clinical trial. So, or you can be part of the shareholder of the the exercise lah, or the business venture, just like the BioNTech with arrangement with Pfizer.
Yeah, yes. So it become a business activities, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get the
so-
picture. I get the picture. So the
So, mhm.
so being a academician and researchers, right, is very difficult. So far, I discovered very difficult to go from A to Z alone. Very difficult and almost, I think, impossible, right?
Yes, correct. Because we might have the know-how, but in terms of the investment and technology, somewhat being monopolized lah by the big pharma. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I urge the student or researcher in the audience, right? The audience, researcher or students, do you have any questions? If you you can't speak it out, you could post it. You could post it in the chat box. Any of the question you want to ask, you can post it, right? Before you post it, I could ask some more. I asked a few in the chat box. If you feel convenient, you might want to answer Prof. Long.
Yeah, let me just quickly point out some of the questions posted. Like, for example, some interesting point. We can sell drugs. Okay, drugs under if because I don't have sufficient time to go to, because normally if this thing is a 2-day things to under 2-day seminar. So under the drugs classifications under the Sales of Drug Act, it covers poison, non-poison, health supplements, natural products, or biologics, which include vaccines. So technically, you can sell drug, but those as a non-poison or non-prescriptions lah. Remember it said it require license, isn't it? But the license is exempted by the retailer, meaning to say that, let's say for example, this 99 Speed Mart or any mini markets, they don't have to apply additional license to sell all these over-the-counter medicines lah, or non-prescribed medication. So in a way, you can sell drug, but on only the non-poison category. Okay. Please sponsor. Okay, so Dr. T as well, you have also some questions. Yeah, I mentioned. I mean, so traditionally as well, the wisdom of the ancestors, they know that if you use single drug, it have increased toxicity effect. So they have a mixture of we call it uh, poly origins lah, or polyherbal 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 dosage form, or polyherbal product, which containing multiple herbs. Okay, compound mixture. So if the compound mixture of abstract, it can be registered as well, as long as the ingredient doesn't contain the poison lah. Let's say for example diclofenac, steroid. So it will be tested. It doesn't contain all this poison. Then only it can be registered as natural product under the traditional medicine. Okay, but for example, if it's a single herbs, raw single herbs, it doesn't require registration. It can be used just like your ubat kampung also. The ubat kampung, if it's just single herbs one, no registration required.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because traditionally we heard about people. Traditionally, we heard about people maybe macik that they have some sort of plantation of traditional herbs. We never heard of it, but they say they claim to be very effective, right? And there's some magazine even promote this effect of the plantation. Well, I once I plant also. I follow the trend, but I'm not very fascinated on the effect lah. But there are many of them, even these traditional herbs in Chinese characters, right? So in Malaysia. There are many of them, but it seems that the promotion. Well, I'm just trying to touch this area. The promotion to the Facebook or even the Persatuan or even through this traditional herbal society. Is it a legal act to do that, or safe to do that? Is it okay in a legal side? That means the education, the promotion of this healthcare information. I don't know if it is really clinically safe or effective, but people believe it.
Yeah, you look. Yeah, there is another law which we didn't discuss today, the Medicine Advertisement Act, lah, MASA. So that one they look into the control and the restrictions of the passing on and advertising. Yeah, we can have a similar future discussion about that. But Dr. T, thanks for raising a very good point about this test kit, glucose test kit, COVID test kit, pregnancy test kit. Here also I didn't cover. There's one big component called medical device. Okay, there's a medical device act also by under another authority called Medical Device Authority. So you have the MPRA looking at the drug, food division looking at the food item. Then there's this medical device authority looking at the registrations. They call it notifications of the medical device. So there is another law and looking there is there's a lot of licenses required also before they can sell. Sorry, they can manufacture wholesales the medical device. Huge area, very interesting for engineering people also.
Yes, because engineering related, but most likely we are going to build a few of our researcher. They are looking for test kit, right? Even some of them is actually non-invasive test kit.
Right. Yeah, it's the new ventures. A lot of new technology come out or develop based on the medical device. Like it can be a mobile apps as well.
Yeah, now they integrated with the apps and IoT, even with the technology online. Okay, thank you very much. I think we learn a lot from sharing, right? We learn a lot sharing, and then through the question we learn. So thanks a lot, Prof. Long, for sharing and willing to come. And this is our honor, greatest honors. I thank again on behalf of the faculty. I thank also Prof. Sam for willing to support and support our program so far.
Pleasure is mine.
Yeah, this is great. I hope that the support will be carry on, right? Even after even my succeeder taking my chair. Okay, thank you very much. So could we take a photo somewhere?
Yeah, sure. We take a group photo. And just for your information, Prof, one of my China students just came to me, sit in front of me, and then he brought me a fantastic medicine for the skin disease. Fantastic. He tried all the Western medicine, cannot cure, but he brought me a very fantastic one. And later I will discuss with you about the registration of the medicine.
Just have to be careful. If it's very effective, most likely it contains steroid
steroid, I know, but yes,
correct.
Because she has already tried the strongest, the best Western medicine contains steroid, still cannot cure. So he tried this. This is so-called but I have yet to find out. Because we have experts. We have expert like Prof. Long, so everything can be found out. Everything can be found out soon. Okay, about all the ingredients and also the registration. Thank you very much, Prof. So it's a great opportunity.
Let's take pictures. Let's take pictures. Right.
Yes, please.
Participant, if you are willing, please switch on your cameras. Let's take picture together and then take it as a memory and appreciation to Prof. Long and Prof. Sam all together. Please turn on your cameras. Right? Please turn on camera. Let's took a few pictures. Right? Thank you, Nazmi. Thank you. Ana Shami, please. Right. Siapa lagi? Afiq. Faiz ada ke? Adila ke? Ada lah. Siapa lagi? A few of my students, Irene, right? Irene Putra, right?
How are you
remember
doing?
them. Yeah.
Good to see you.
Right. Good to see you all. Please turn on your camera. Let's let me put let me take some photos, right? Let me take some photos and snap the screen, right? On. Cheers. Right? Big smile. Big smile. On. There. Let me take it into what about the rest? I have only one screen. Okay, the screen changed already. The screen changed already. Okay. Be patient. Let me, this is a manual, right? Very manual screen capture. Right. I wouldn't take all, but just a few to record the event, and then in future, right? We are going to put it into our activity list. Our activity list. Yeah, the screen keep changing. Right, so your record we have around 127 on the peak, 127 participants actually, right, on the peak moment, right? Thank you very much. Let's say thank you, right? Mohon bagi terima kasih kepada Prof Long dan juga Prof Sam, boleh sebutlah atau type saja. Okay, kepada dua-dua ceramah kerana memberi perkongsian yang bermakna yang boleh dibawa ke rumah juga, akta ubat dan juga sel, juga dan kita tahu macam mana ubat tu boleh ke atau selamat ke, baru kita tahu sekarang. Saya pun tak tahu. So thank you all the information.
Very
Okay,
happy to
cheers.
be with you today.
Cheers.
Thank you, students, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.